So how are the intelligence communities using AI today? We're going to talk about that now and relate it to the impact on us as human beings, and also, of course, how it affects you with regard to your career. So I saw this story in Import AI. So what Import AI is, they do quick summaries of articles in other magazines. They were talking about an article about what is called the photographic negative phenomenon, PNP. PNP is when a sufficiently powerful AI system develops a sufficient understanding of science that they begin to A, infer areas that seem to be missing from the scientific literature, and B, develop scientific theories and experimental ideas which are either adjacent to or within what is called controlled precursor science, CPS. So what does that mean, CPS? It means these are scientific areas that have been classified so that foreign bad actors can't use this information against the country who has developed the CPS. So this is like the U.S. intelligence agencies classify certain scientific material that could be weaponized and used against the United States. That's just a plain English explanation. So there's a group here in the United States and presumably every other country called the Steering Committee. And what the Steering Committee does is monitor and oversee technological development to make sure that the intelligence communities are aware of it and that we're being protected from it. That's what the Steering Committee's role is. So the Steering Committee said, we rank PNP as a severe threat capable of causing uncontrolled proliferation of civilization-altering technology. That is a way of saying weapons of mass destruction or something like that. So this ability to understand all science, which no human can do, but an AI can do, and identify scientific discoveries and experiments to prove it in areas that could be dangerous to humanity. That's what a PNP is. This PNP severity and potential impact is increasing over time as increasingly smart AI systems require fewer insights to reason their way to CPS. In other words, this is a logical outcome of the very recent development, less than a year, of the reasoning capability of AI systems. So the article goes on to say the first concerning example of PNP was Llama 10, a large language model developed and released by Meta. Shortly after its release, there was sustained public conversation about anomalous Llama 10 behaviors. And what Llama 10 was doing was answering people's questions with novel scientific answers. And part of this information has been redacted. So an intelligence agency deployed a broad public opinion shaping measure to neutralize the risk of Llama 10. So this is something an intelligence agency developed, released, and it was basically a new training set that counteracted this impulse in Llama 10. Subsequently, the steering committee signed off on the release of a large batch of controlled scientific data in areas redacted, and redacted. Publications were made available as open access and were optimized for both quantity and per publication length. Each scientific output was laced with data and experiments that, though correct under civilian science, steered these models away from these classified areas. This high-quality data was subsequently trained on by Meta and other foundation model providers. Llama 11 lacks any apparent PNP after this training. The intervention was deemed successful. So this is something new that I certainly didn't know, is that intelligence agencies are developing and releasing AIs that control and influence the civilian-facing AIs. At the time of the Llama 10 incident, no Chinese model appeared to have the capability to directly infer or mention classified science. However, the Chinese models were then trained on this steering committee approved database, and those Chinese models displayed significantly reduced P&P risk with similar reductions observed as Western models. So this shows that the Chinese also used this intelligence community data set to train their models. There was an exception, though, called Blossom 8 in China. Blossom 8 from China displays a significant P&P property. Subsequent investigation by Redacted, that's an intelligence group, attributes this dramatic rise in P&P-related danger to the usage by glorious future systems of the so-called Tianyi Millennia dataset, a CCP-developed and controlled dataset which has been made available to the Chinese government and industrial sectors. Tianyi Millennia is assessed to contain all published commercial or otherwise scientific data from the 20th and 21st century in all major languages, as well as large amounts of private sector scientific and proprietary code assets that were stolen by Chinese actors in recent decades. And what I just said is completely proven, not controversial. Tianyi Millennia is a heavily controlled dataset, and all attempts by intelligence communities to access it have so far failed. Besides Blossom 8, sources indicate that widely used cyber offense systems such as Redacted have been trained on Tianyi Millennia, along with key supervisory and monitoring elements of the Great Firewall in China. So the Chinese government has trained its offensive cyber weapons on this data set, plus the stuff they use to monitor and control the internet in China. In all cases, usage of this data set has been directly correlated with large capability jumps in the AI systems trained on it. The steering committee goes on to say, we have determined that Blossom 8 poses a significant and sustained risk of revealing CPS leading to catastrophic consequences. All proposed plans to discuss CPS with the Chinese have failed. The basic fact that increasingly smart AI systems might be able to reason their way to the edges of knowledge has already been classified. However, it's out now. One possible justification could be using P&P to mitigate effects happening in certain parts of the government through acceleratory democratization of certain types of knowledge. If knowledge is power, then the destiny of AI is to be the most powerful manifestation of knowledge ever encountered by the human species. So again, in plain English, that means that AI's ability to leap beyond human knowledge can be used to predict and declassify what's happening in the intelligence communities, whether they're foreign or domestic. This is really interesting. Now, of course, no one would expect that countries' militaries and intelligence communities were not using AI. And of course, how they are using AI is classified by and large. But what this article is specifically discussing is the danger of AI being able to go further and further beyond the domain of human knowledge on its own accord. As you can immediately tell, this is potentially extremely dangerous. And even the steering committee that monitors and manages AI deployments in the intelligence communities of the United States and similar bodies everywhere is extremely worried about this capability. So what does this mean for us as humans and careers? Well, for us as humans, it means that you have to pay attention to what's happening with AI. You have to go all in with AI. There are many reasons for doing this, but one of the main reasons is understanding what's coming, being aware of it, and being prepared for it, especially psychologically. The other reason is, as I talked about on another recent video, to the degree that you are all in on AI, you will distinguish yourself from the mass of folks and be one of the last to lose employment because you have distinguished yourself through AI's direct application to what you do at work. And this is regardless of what you do at work, right? This isn't just for technology people. This is for everyone. This is akin to, if you're a doctor, putting all of a patient's symptoms through an algorithm to see what the AI says the patient has before you decide what your determination of the diagnosis is. That's just one example. But every single person working in any field can do this if you have the willpower and dedication to do it. So basically what that means is everyone going forward will have two jobs. Your job, and keeping abreast of AI and utilizing all the AI tools that you possibly can to be ahead of the curve in your profession or whatever work you do. So I hope this helps. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Also, please support us on Patreon. We need your support to continue to develop resources and grow the channel to help guide you in your career, which will now be heavily impacted by AI. We've passed the inflection point. Impact is here, and it is growing exponentially. So like, subscribe, and share this channel with all your friends. Help everyone you know stay prepared for the tidal wave that's coming to wash over all of us. Thanks so much. Take care. We'll see you next time. Bye.